Understanding the business opportunities in the Nigerian maritime industry. What are the primary laws applicable to the maritime industry in Nigeria? The primary laws applicable to the maritime industry in Nigeria are the Merchant Shipping Act 2007, the Coastal and Inland Shipping Act 2003, the National Inland Waterways Act, and 47 laws of the Federation of Nigeria (LFN) 2004, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency Act 2007, and the Admiralty Jurisdiction Act of the Nigeria A4 LFM 2004. What are the type of business that the vessel owner can participate in Nigeria? A vessel owner can participate in the business of coastal trade or inland waters trade. Is it important for a ship to be registered in Nigeria before it can do business? Yes, it is required for a ship to be registered in Nigeria before it can do business and operate commercially within Nigeria. Unless a vessel is wholly owned by Nigerian citizen, built and registered in Nigeria, such a vessel isn't authorized to engage in domestic coastal carriage of cargo and passengers within the coastal territorial waters or any point within the waters of the exclusive economic zone of Nigeria. What are the type of vessel eligible for registration? The following types are eligible for registration: passengers vessel, crew boats, bunkering vessel, fishing trawlers, barges, offshore service vessel, tugs, anchor handling tug and supply vessel, floating petroleum storage, dredges, tankers, carriers and any other craft or vessel used for carriage on, through or underwater of any person, property or substance whatsoever. Who can own a registered vessel in Nigeria? Only Nigerian citizen, partnership, and companies registered in Nigeria and having their principal place of business in Nigeria. Can a company not totally owned by Nigerian register a vessel for use in Nigeria's domestic trade? The ownership requirement under the Cabotage Act provides that the company must either be wholly and beneficially owned by Nigerian or the controlling interest of such company be held by Nigerian. A vessel is wholly and beneficially owned by Nigerian where all the shares in the vessel and the company are held by Nigerian citizen free from any trust or obligation in favor of any person not a citizen of Nigeria. A vessel is owned by a company in which Nigerians have the controlling interest where the percent of shares in the company owned by Nigerian citizen isn't less than 60%. What are the type of ship registration applicable in Nigeria? In Nigeria, the following type of registration are applicable: provisional registration, flag registration, bareboat registration, cabotage registration, joint venture. Does cabotage mean that foreign vessels are no longer allowed to trade in Nigerian waters? Foreign vessels are allowed to trade in Nigerian waters where they make an application to the minister for waiver to trade and the minister is satisfied that there is no wholly Nigerian-owned vessel that is suitable and available to provide the services or perform the activity described in the application. In response to the application, the minister is empowered to grant such foreign-owned vessel a waiver to operate and carry on activities in Nigerian waters. What is a waiver? Waiver is a special dispensation that permits a foreign ship or crew member to participate in the cabotage trade where there is no Nigerian with the capacity to perform the contract. Under what circumstances can a foreign vessel be granted waivers? A foreign vessel may be granted waiver where there is no wholly Nigerian-owned vessel that is suitable and available to provide the services or perform the activity prescribed in the application, where there is no qualified Nigerian officer or crew for the position specified in the application, and no Nigerian shipbuilding company has the capacity to construct the particular type or size of vessel specified in the application. Every waiver application is sent the ship registry, which must confirm if there are any Nigerian ownership with the same capacity to perform the contract sought to be performed by the foreign ownership. What are the applicable type of waivers? The Minister for Transportation is empowered to grant the following type of waivers: a waiver on the requirement for the vessel to be wholly owned, a waiver on the requirement for the vessel to be wholly manned by Nigerian, and a waiver on the requirement for the vessel to be built in Nigeria. Does the waiver certificate granted by the minister allow a foreign-owned vessel to operate indefinitely in Nigerian water? The certificate is valid for only 1 year. After that, a renewal application must be submitted and the circumstance arises. Is the waiver regime indefinite? NIMASA launched a 5-year cabotage cessation plan in 2019 aimed at ending the grant of cabotage waiver and ensuring full implementation of the Coastal and Inland Shipping Act 2003. This means that in the next 5 years, there are a number of waivers that NIMASA would no longer grant. Does cabotage evict Nigerian seafarer? The cabotage does prohibit the employment of foreign crew on board vessel trading in Nigeria's coastal waters, even when such a vessel is owned by a Nigerian company. What type of business is in the inland waterways trade in Nigeria? Inland waterways trade refers to trade that is carried on in areas that are declared federal navigable waterways. These include rivers and their tributes, distributaries, creeks, lakes, lagoon, and intracoastal waterways specified in the second schedule to the National Inland Waterways Act. Which regulatory agency is in charge of inland waterways trade? The National Inland Waterways Authority (NIWA) is the body responsible for regulating inland waterways trade in Nigeria and for granting licenses to private inland waterways operators. What are the special registers that the vessel may be registered in? The Minister for Transportation is authorized to maintain in the office of the Registrar of Ships a separate register for vessels intended for use in the domestic and inland waters trade to be called Special Register. The following cabotage registers have been opened in the Nigerian Ship Registry: Special Register for Cabotage, Special Register for Cabotage, Special Register for fully foreign-owned vessel, and there are other type of register provided for under the Merchant Shipping Act. These registers are Register for Merchant Ship, Register for Fishing Vessel, and etc. Thank you.